Hello, Deepanista. Please press the like button. The victory depends on you. Slava Dipani.
Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 176, 18th of August, for the Ukraine war, or the Russian to Ukraine special military operation. So let's start off with a Ukrainian claim. So the Ukrainian made a statement, according to ASB military. They say that the Russians have not destroyed a single HIMARS system. Not a single HIMARS has been destroyed. So they say the Russian Ministry of Defense are lying. So yeah, I think that's a great way to start this summary, right? So let's what's next? Do we have anything else? Okay, let's go on to the Southern Front. So at the Southern Front, at Mykolaiv, the reported fighting at Nova Kakhovka is still not mentioned. We still do not have anything on this. So maybe it's already abandoned, this attack. So the attack at Yehorivka is also not mentioned. So looks like this fight is really quite over. So this summary is for the 18th. For the 18th of August. So when I put 19, sometimes it's because the information came out on the 19th. So it's a bit of like a give and take. You take a pinch of salt in terms of the date. Don't get too caught up by that. So otherwise, we have nothing else on the Southern Front. Unless you're interested on the situation at Nova Kakhovka, the hydroelectric power plant. The Russians mentioned that according to their defense ministry report, they intercepted 12 HIMARS. So that's literally two full salvos of missiles, which in a way they're probably trying to say that they have intercepted all of the HIMARS missiles, unless the Ukrainians have 3 launches and then they still missed 6 of them. So that's all from the Southern Front. Do you have anything else here? Okay, so on to the Zaporizhzhia region. A lot of things happened for the Enohoda. So on the 18th, the Russians put out a very long statement regarding the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. They said that when the UN Secretary General Guterres, when he's going to visit Odessa as part of his trip from the 17th to the 19th, they claim that the Ukrainian armed forces will stage a disaster at Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Basically, they are going to attack the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, cause a radiation leak, and then put the nuclear power plant into a abnormal operating state. Basically, into a disaster, Chernobyl. So they say, according to what the Ukrainians will do, they say that they will actually blame it on the Russians, and then and blame it on the incompetence of Russian specialists at the nuclear facility. So to do this entire show, this entire drama, they said that the Ukrainians are planning to deploy a radiation observation post, and then deployed in the Zaporizhzhia region of Ukraine. And then they will provide their servicemen with MBC protection equipment, basically chemical suits, and train them on chemical radiation protection and safety measures for the visit of Guterres. So they say that the units of the 44th Artillery Brigade has been ordered to be ready by August 19 to act in conditions of radioactive contamination on the terrain. And they also say that there's a nuclear chemical unit also being redeployed to the Zaporizhzhia region And then they say that artillery are planned on the nuclear power plant from Nikopol city. So Nikopol city is here, which is just across the river. So then the so-called drama, the spectacle, will accompany with public warning about rising radiation levels and stuff like this, and wanting to influence the UN Secretary General and the international community to cover up divisions favorable to Kiev, basically to help Kiev to say words in a positive note towards Kiev against the Russians. So the ultimate goal is actually to have a exclusion zone up to 30 kilometers and to bring international forces and foreign observers to the nuclear power plant region, and then to accuse the Russians of nuclear terrorism. And then on the same day, Zelenskyy actually claimed that the UN Secretary General Guterres has demanded the demilitarization of Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. This comes from Zelenskyy himself, not from the Secretary General. He say. So not really worth fact checking. Then today on the 19th, the Russians, the Ukrainians actually put out a statement in reaction to the Russian statement yesterday. They said that the Russians are actually preparing these provocations instead, not the Ukrainians. So they said that the Russians announced an unexpected day off at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. So only operational personnel will be at the nuclear power plant on the 19th. All other employees are sent home. And then they said that the representative of the Rosatom, which is the Russian nuclear company, they said that they were always at the station, urgently left the territory of the facilities. And then at the same time as they are leaving the territory, then they say that the Russian Ministry of Defense announced the preparation of the terrorist attack, which is yesterday's report. And then he said all the reports were what the Russians have said. And basically, they say that the Russians is planning to blame the Ukrainians for the terrorist attack, which is launched by the Russians themselves. So then it's clear that the large-scale shelling of a Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant will raise a stake and arrange a real terrorist attack on Europe's on Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. And they plan to commit this terrorist act when the UN Secretary General is in Ukraine. So the Russians say the Ukraine is going to do this, and the Ukraine say the Russians going to do this, which means that it's going to happen. It doesn't matter who says what. If both says what the other side is going to do, then it sounds like it's going to happen, right? So then Donbas Duveshka, which is a pro-Russian Telegram channel, highlighted something very interesting. They said that the IAEA refused to visit the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, despite the Russians has been asking them to come to the power plant constantly, because the UN has stipulated that they need the Ukrainian permission to visit the nuclear power plant, and Zelenskyy has refused to allow them to visit, stating that the power plant must be under Ukrainian control before the agency is allowed to inspect it. Very, very awkward, And the latest information I see was from Intel Slava. They say that the permanent representative of the Russian Federation in Vienna announced that the IAEA mission to Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant may take place in the first days of September. So let's see, if there will be this provocation, this attack on the nuclear power plant, and let's see whether there will be any IAEA visits. Really not sure. People are just playing this game a bit of a too high of a stake, if you ask me. And to be honest, if the Western powers do not help Ukraine more, then it's really in Zelensky's interest to actually make the situation worse, and to actually create a nuclear disaster. It doesn't really matter. It can be a punishment to the Western powers as well, because they should know much better that victory will be really, really hard, and it's like it's a brinkmanship. So but that's just my opinion. Moving on to the Zaporizhzhia line, I have nothing. The fighting reported at Pervomaiske is no longer fighting, so I will delete it from the 15th. And we are now in the Donetsk Front. At the Donetsk Front, the fighting reported yesterday. No, there is no new fighting reported, except for this, which I mentioned. Did I mention this? Yes, I mentioned this yesterday, on yesterday's summary. There is no new information regarding the fighting around this region here, around the Soledar line, and there's also no updates on the Nova Kakhovka situation. Suddenly, there's no one talking about this. Then we are moving on to the Pisky region, northwest of Donetsk city. There's fighting continue to be reported towards Pervomaiske. So according to Ryba, the pro-Russian source, they said that the Donetsk militia is now fighting for the stronghold near the Donetsk Ring Road. I'm not very sure the Donetsk Ring Road refers to which one, so I believe it's actually this road here. This road here. So this road. So I believe that they are fighting for some entrenched positions around here. So they're still fighting there. There's also mention of some bombardment on some Ukrainian entrenched positions around the western side of this airport, but I'm not exactly sure where it is. It's along a road under the road. Some locations is not very significant because it's just because people have reported that because of the drone. There's a drone footage of that bombardment. Otherwise, I don't think it's very significant. It's just a usual fighting at the battleground on the front lines. I moved this arrow backwards a bit because I don't think the arrow is going to be so far. The attack is going to be so far here, so I moved the arrow backwards a bit. The fighting towards there's a reported fighting towards Pervomaiske from Lozove direction, which is actually the fighting that we have reported yesterday. The fighting continues, according to the Ukraine Defense Ministry, hostilities continues. So in this direction. So not sure, what is the situation here now. But it looks like the entire forest line and all these locations are all heavily entrenched by the Ukrainians. So progress will be slow, I believe. The fighting and Nevelske, towards Nevelske is not reported. So, and this fighting in the area of Pisky, which is now is not really fighting, they're just doing bombardment. The fighting at Opine is not reported as well. So, moving on to Holivka region. At the Holivka region, the fighting at Zelenskyy and Shumi also is not mentioned by the Ukrainian side. This previously reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. We didn't see anything. And then we are now at the Bakhmut Front. At the Bakhmut Front, breaking news is that there's actually a report of the Russian forces captured Dacha. Sorry, previously I mentioned it as a rumor because I only have one source. Then after that, I have a corroboration from Suryak map. So I have two sources confirming that Dacha is captured. So Dacha is now reported as captured now on the DPA's map. Zaitseve, previously we have fighting reported yesterday, according to the Ukraine Defense Ministry. In today, it becomes a rumor of capture. According to Intel Slava, I'm not sure where they get this information. They say that they saw this unconfirmed report that Dacha is captured. Then they wrote that it's confirmed. Not sure how they confirmed that. because there is no photos and videos showing that it's confirmed. So they're supposed to be waiting for confirmation, and then they say it's confirmed. That's 2 minutes after the first post. So Syriac maps is a bit more detailed. They mentioned that 2/3 of Zaitseve north of the Holivka is captured. So only 2/3. So north of Holivka is here. So this Zaitseve is a very long village. So 2/3 of it is captured. So it's not exactly a full capture of Zaitseve. So let's wait further. I believe that we'll get there. And I'm not sure this villages here is under which town. So it's kind of a blur now. So let's see how this goes. So moving on to Kodema. So fighting continues to report at Kodema. So there is fighting reported at Kodema, and then we have the Ukrainian Defense Ministry saying that there's an attack in the direction of Kodema from Vershyna. So from Vershyna, they are taking down towards Kodema. So which means that there might be a pincer happening over at Kodema. At the Zaitseve west of Vershyna, there is no mention of fighting over here. Let's double confirm. No, yeah, it was not mentioned in today's report, but yesterday is fighting, so I assume that it's definitely still fighting, definitely. So moving on to the Bakhmut city, the fighting from Klynove towards Bakhmut continues, which is the southeastern outskirt of Bakhmut city. This fighting still continues. We also have information that the fighting at Bakhmut on the eastern side continues as well. This from the Ryba, from pro-Russian source. This one is from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. So these two fighting continues. The one from the northeastern side or northern side is not mentioned. So I think tomorrow's summary, we might actually have to delete away this if there is no more information mentioning this. Moving on to the Soledar region. Fighting continue at Bakhmutske from the Pervomaiske direction up. And then at Soledar, there is some new developments. According to Syriac maps, they actually mentioned that this residential area, they mapped it in this way. The residential area just off the Gymsum quarry has been captured by the Russian forces, and they also continue to map this area, which is supposed to be the below Kharkiv refractory plant. They map this as captured by the Russians. So I actually reflected according to the mapping by Syriac maps, since they have this more detailed information. So I first saw this information from Intel Slava, which is a bit confusing. They say that the militia of the Luhansk People's Republic announced that the Allied forces have entered Soledar from the industrial zone of the city, and then they have taken control over several streets. So this is very vague. So maybe they are mentioning the same thing as Syriac maps. These are the several streets that they are talking about. And however, Soledar is still stretched on to all the way to the salt mine here. So let's see how how far they will go. It's gonna be quite a big hit, pain of the ass to go through here. Especially you have a high-rise building around here. So once you have high-rise building, things start to get really difficult. Like what happened over at Vuleda. So for those that are new and not so clear about the situation on the ground, Vuleda is this small little town, but they are all high-rise. So they are all high-rise buildings. So all these apartments and flats over here at Vuleda caused Vuleda to become a stronghold. It became basically like a fortress. So the Russians have not been able to capture Vuleda for a very long time. So perhaps to the north, in the northern side of Soledar, this might actually cause a problem should the Ukrainian forces refuse to withdraw from this area, because that's what happened in Popasna as well. Popasna also have a lot of high-rise building in the city center area, and the Russians took a long time to actually capture that position. So high-rise building have a lot of windows, so a lot of snipers can be there. It's not easy to take a high-rise residential zone, unless you are willing to flatten the entire city. Fighting is reported over at Yakovlivka. This is reported by Ryba, the pro-Russian sources, and so this is a renewed offensive. Previously, Yakovlivka seems to have no more fighting. There's no more reports of fighting for the past few days. So Yakovlivka start to fight again. There's no action over at Yehorivka area or Nahirnia Vershyna area. So no actions around this side. The concentration of actions is all around this region, all around Bakhmut. So the focus is definitely very Bakhmut and Soledar focused. Over here at the Siversk Front, there is a... So, okay, first I might have to go to Vimka first. So yesterday we reported that there's a fighting reported at Vimka. And then we have the new report from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry is that the fighting is now from the direction of Spirne towards Vimka. And this is unusual because the Ukrainians have always said Spirne is under the Ukrainian control, which means that this is actually a conceit that Spirne has been captured by the Russians. So, which is why I have assessed that the Russian forces have captured Spirne. And because this yesterday's report was from the Mykolaiivka direction. So Mykolaiivka in this direction. So to say that there's fighting from Spirne direction, which would actually mean that Spirne has been captured and under Russian control. So I'm going to move the front line now. Yeah, and yeah. So this looking more spiky, And I will delete this fighting reported at Spirne, which is from the 17th, 2 days ago. So the fighting at the Yehorivka is not repeated. So one more day we'll have to delete this. And the situation at Bakhmutske is unclear because previous last information was that the Russian forces is already in the halfway line of this village. But to be halfway and then no fighting is a bit unusual. There is also some rumors that because the fighting here is so quiet, that the Ukrainians have been redeploying some troops from Siversk direction towards the southern side of this Eastern Front. So, but there's rumors. So moving on to the Izyum Front. So this is Izyum City. So this is Izyum City. So at the Izyum Front, I do not have any information about this alleged capture of Bohorodashne, and their fighting at Dolena is no longer mentioned as well. However, we still have reports of fighting at Mezhenivka. So according to Ryba, the Russians are launching massive artillery strikes near Mezhenivka, and then fighting continues around in the surrounding forest. So this is going to take a long time. And interestingly, according to the Ukraine Defense Ministry, they claim control over Dubrovnik because they mentioned that in this report, they've mentioned that the Russians launched an attack from Holivka towards Dubrovnik and Holivka towards Novodimitrivka, which means that they claim control over Dubrovnik. And I'm kind of not sure if I should give the flag to the Ukrainians. I want to see maybe one more day. Should the Ukrainians report this one more time tomorrow, then I will actually award Dubrovnik to be under the Ukrainian control. I think that will be enough, because since they mentioned the Dubrovnik was shelled earlier this month, and then since then it's always been this way. And the pro-Russian sources say that the Dubrovnik is actually in a gray zone. No one actually really controls it. But to have this report that the Russians are attacking to Dubrovnik and the Ukrainians are holding them there, might suggest that the Ukrainians have already moved in and then set up shop, set up the bed, fold the bed, sleep, put a pillow, fluff it, and maybe they are sleeping there. So So maybe that's the situation now there. So if we can have another corroboration from tomorrow, that would be good. So fighting flared up over at Nova continues. There's continued to be fighting around here. And interestingly, there is a new offensive by the Russians over at the western side of this battlefront here. According to the Ukraine Defense Ministry, they mentioned that the Russians are attacking from Pervomaiske towards Kharkiv. So Kharkiv is around here. Then you'll be wondering, where the hell is Pervomaiske? It's actually a very tiny village here. If you zoom out, it disappears. You have to zoom in to actually see it. So the Pervomaiske direction towards Kharkiv. So very exotic names. So this actually, might be a attempt to draw Ukrainian forces away from this direction, since they are actually pushing here. So let's see, or could this be a pincer towards Bakhmut? That could happen. So let's see what will be happening tomorrow. Tomorrow. Then no. Nothing at Bakhmut front. Moving on to the Kharkiv Front. At the Kharkiv Front, we do not have any information about fighting over at this area at Libyaj. Libyaj was bombarded, I think, by artillery shelling. I remember seeing their name. I think airstrike. There's airstrike on Libyaj. So otherwise, the other areas are rather quiet. They are not really quiet, as in like it's quiet in the sense that there's nothing to report on our map. There is airstrikes and artillery strikes in multiple locations, including Libyaj. There is a artillery strike at Zaitseve. No, airstrike on Zaitseve. Multiple artillery strikes all across the front line. It's not that quiet. It's just quiet on our map because we don't report on artillery shellings. And however, there is fighting reported near Udi. This is according to the give me a minute. Offensive on the 14th of August have defeated under the pressure, blah 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 blah. So this is on the 14th. So wrong information, delete. So there is no updates regarding the alleged captures of Stony and Bakhmutske. Sorry for the Udi information. I didn't read it carefully. There is actually backdated information. So and these two rumors, it's not repeated. I have no idea what happened. Maybe it's just rumors. It's just fake information. And that's it. That's it from the Ukraine. So this is the summary from the day of 176, 18th of August. This is for 18th of August. I know it's 19th of August now for most of you, and it's already 20th of August in Singapore. So yeah. So just take note that there might be some information that you might have seen and that which is not in this report, because it's actually happening on the 19th of August. So
press the like button,
and I'll see you in the next update.